Hello again, cyber world. I actually miss the UK. If you're new watching my videos, just a little background. So I'm English, obviously, and I live in Italy, in Rome, with my Italian girlfriend and our extremely challenging 6-year-old daughter. We were forced to move here, or I was forced to move here really because of Brexit, and my girlfriend basically had enough of being in the UK. I understand all of the people that are posting videos saying that the UK's dead and that they're moving to other countries and such like. I understand that. I understand everything costs so much over in England and so on and so forth, but at the same time, this video is ultimately going to be about my top 10, my list of challenges for moving to another country that I'd like to express to other people, really. And if you're someone out there in the UK that's had enough and just think that you're just going to pack your bag and foxtrot Oscar to another country, I want you to seriously consider or listen and consider some of these points that I'm about to say. I've made notes. I've got some notes in front of me here that I'll probably be reading from and picking things, and then I'll spitball other things that come into my mind. So number one is language barrier. So obviously moving to Italy means immersing yourself in a new language. And even if you've studied Italian, I'll say Italian, it could be any language. I mean, I see lots of people that are saying about moving to Portugal or moving to Spain, France, anywhere in Europe. But then there's also people that are moving farther afield. Like I watched a video earlier of a guy that moved to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and loads of people that are moving to Thailand and Vietnam and such like. And you'd have to be very, very lucky to find people that understand you, really. I mean, some people, what's the word? I think it's polyglot. Some people are polyglots that are just really good at learning languages and probably just really good at speaking in general. And unfortunately, this is one of the major things that I have learned. I'm basically not one of those people. I'm 47 years old, and even at 47 years old, in my own language, I struggle. I'm dyslexic, so my spelling's not so great. I haven't got such a huge arsenal of vocabulary and words. And also a major problem for me is that I'm introverted. So I'm not really the sort of person that throws myself out there. My girlfriend kind of digs me in the ribs a bit about that and saying that I need to get out more, and my language will get a lot better if I go out, to the shops and I go and do this and go and do that. But it's just not me. I'm not that sort of person even in England. I've pointed this out to her numerous times when she's tried to bug me and tell me to go to do the shopping. I can't honestly remember the last time that I ever went to a supermarket, walked around and filled a trolley full of my weekly or monthly shopping. It's just not something I do, probably since about 2006. My life has just been to go on Sainsbury's.co.uk and just do everything online since 2006, basically, up until 2012, when I met my Italian girlfriend. And at certain times we would go to the shops, and we'd do a weekly shopping. But it pains me to do that. I literally cannot stand going to a supermarket and walking around for maybe an hour of my life searching for things. For me, internet shopping has basically been invented for people like me who are just, not that I'm lazy. I mean, I could go quite easily just to go and get just a few things from a shop when I'm in the UK, but there's no chance I'd ever walk around for over an hour packing a trolley, as I say. But also as well, my way of thinking is, I mean, it's annoyed me numerous times when I've gone shopping and I have things on a list that I really want to get, and I get to the shops and they don't have it. It's not there. Whereas if you just to do it online, majority of the time they're going to have it all in stock because it's coming from the main warehouse and it's just going to come straight to you. So that would be one of my points also here in Italy. Is the country is, I mean, I would say at least 20-25 years behind the UK. So they're very behind. People here love to, go out shopping, and they still don't mind doing that. But my recollection from when I was last back in the UK in 2018, quite a lot of people just order everything online. People are just so busy, especially having lived in London before I moved to Italy. I'm not originally from London, I'm from outside of London, but I lived in London, I think, for 5 years maybe before moving to Italy. And yeah, pretty much everyone is just so busy, they haven't got time to go shopping. Most of the people that I knew from my work, that is, didn't really have time. They would just order everything online and just get it that way. So anyway, continuing on, so even if you've studied Italian, using it in real life situations can be much more challenging than expected. Everyday conversations, from ordering food at a restaurant to chatting with neighbours, might be manageable, but deeper interactions like handling legal documents, setting up bank accounts, or dealing with medical appointments can be very, very overwhelming. Luckily for me, my girlfriend's Italian, obviously, so she's dealt with all of my legal documents, setting up bank accounts and medical appointments. But I don't know if the word's detrimental. I mean, it's detrimental really, because I don't know, if someone was to come and contact me and ask me for my legal documents, I wouldn't know where any of them are to begin with. I wouldn't be able to talk them through with anyone. I have no idea at all about any of it. Still to this day, I've been here for 7 years so far, and I mean, quite a few of those years were taken up during COVID, so I didn't really go out and see many people anyway. And as I've already said, I'm not really the sort of person that goes out. I'm quite happy just to stay at home, doing my thing, sitting in front of my computers and creating. I'm a creative person. I mean, I'm not a people person who likes to go out and meet people and meet new people. And I'm a very introverted person who only likes small groups of people. I can't stand big groups of people. I just can't really deal with it. I mean, I get quite easily overwhelmed. This is, part of my mental health that I go through in my brain. As I say, even in England, I mean, there'd be times when I was working in London, that I would purposely avoid people that I worked with. If there was someone that I didn't really know from my work that was, in the kitchenette or something at my work, if I walked up towards the kitchenette and I saw that person, I'd instantly have massive anxiety and panic attack, not really know what to talk about with that person. So I'd just walk past the kitchenette and I would just exit the office and go down the stairs and go off for a little quick toilet break, hoping that when I come back that person wouldn't be there, so I wouldn't have to deal with it. Another challenge also would be the speed at which Italians speak. Conversations can feel like a rapid fire exchange, making it extremely difficult to keep up, especially in social situations where multiple people are talking at once, which is just a common thing here. I mean, in England, this is one of the things that I really, really miss from being in England, is just English people and their mannerisms. If you're there with a group of people, it tend to be like one person will speak, everyone else will usually sort of listen, and then someone else will say something, and then, everyone sort of takes their turn. Here in Italy, it's literally 5-6 different people all talking over the top of each other, and you're just like, I don't know who I'm meant to be, who's talking, what's going on, and it just drives me mad. That's also another reason why I don't really go out. I can't compute it all really. It's just quite overwhelmed by it. So yeah, the speed at which everyone speaks and everyone's speaking at the same time, just a mentalness. So that would be my number one, language. I mean, I've been doing Duolingo for over 1,000 days now, and even now I honestly couldn't tell you what any of it means. Everything's so fucking confusing. I'm gonna try and grab my book here. All the different verbs, all the different ways of saying it. You could probably have about 20 different ways of saying things, whether or not it's I, you, he, she, us, they. It's just so very, very confusing, especially when you struggle to understand your own language. I'd also add to that as well that language barrier can ultimately lead to many misunderstandings and frustration, even unintentional mistakes, whether or not it's signing a contract you didn't fully understand or struggling to explain a health issue to a doctor. This is one of the major things that I would stress to people. It's not as easy as a lot of people think about just jumping on a plane, legging it, running away. This is ultimately what I feel. All these videos that I see of people basically just running away from the country. I know the country's having problems, but it makes me laugh. I've seen so many videos of these people that have run away, basically, or saying that they're going to run away, that are evidently, so clearly reform voters, got some kind of an issue with migrants coming to the country, taking their jobs, even though a lot of the people that come over, through the proper channels, like trained people like doctors, a lot of these people that are saying that their jobs are being taken away. Are they doctors? Are they nurses? I don't think so. A lot of them are just skivvies, that don't really have much about them anyway. So makes me laugh that, they're all going on about these migrants and such, like invading their country, and now they're off to another country to go and invade that country themselves. It's stupid, and it just makes me think, all these people running away, how's that even going to make the country any better in itself? If everyone's all leaving the country, it's not as if you're going to be able to help rebuild the country and make it better. It just means that more migrants are going to have to come to the country to try and fix it. So it just makes no sense to me. Everyone just running away from the problem, just like burying themselves in, their heads in the sand, and just think that they're just gonna leg it to party land in Thailand and everything's going to be great. But it's only going to be great for a certain amount of time, and then eventually it's going to get to a point where they're probably going to realise the same things that I've realised, and kind of just think, do you know what, actually the UK isn't really that bad. Going back to one of my points I was saying moments ago was about the online shopping. Man, they don't even really have, we had one shop that I really liked that had online shopping, but they've now stopped it because no one was really using it. A lot of the online shopping, it's just so, as I say, they're so stuck in the past. They're using like old technology, and the online shopping things just doesn't work, and it's just a lot of the time they don't really have any online shopping. In England you'd have numerous amounts of different apps. You can just order everything off of an app, but they're just so far behind over here that they're starting to appear, some of these apps, but a lot of the time they're just so basic and so crap and just crash, and it's just a headache. It's like I've gone back in time, back to like the 80s or something. And I'm not a real tech person, but I like to think that I know my way around a lot of these things. But yeah, they just don't have a clue here. Anyone that is really like computer savvy over here, they've left the country basically, because I'll go on to that. That's another one of the points. I'll come up to that. So just as a little outro, I'd say, unless you want to be one of those people that moves to another foreign country, and some of these people that are all going to Thailand and all of these other places are just expecting everyone to be able to speak English. Speak of the English. A lot of these people that are moving to as I said earlier, some of these people moving to other countries basically had enough of all the foreigners coming to their country, and then they're complaining about foreigners that come to their country and don't even speak the language, but then they're quite happy to naff off to somewhere like Thailand and not really throw themselves into learn the local lingo themselves. They just gravitate to other people that speak English. So all the people that they meet there are all the other people, the English speakers. They don't integrate themselves either, basically. So it makes me laugh that all these people basically saying, all these people come to our country stealing our jobs, don't even bother trying to learn the language, but then they're just doing a runner to another country to go and hope that they just find other people that speak English, which I find quite disrespectful. So I try to speak Italian when I'm here in Italy, but as I've just expressed, it's just a bastard of a language to learn, and that in itself whittles down my mental health of, going out just to go and meet friends, like the parents of my daughter, and, maybe going for a meal or something with these people. And everyone around me, basically, they're all just talking Italian. And I just stand there in the corner staring at my phone a lot of the time with absolutely no idea what anyone's talking about. And I mean, I've pulled my girlfriend up on this numerous times, saying, why don't you incorporate me into the conversations? Why don't you explain to me what people are talking about? And try to get somehow me involved into the conversation. But she, as I say, also, again, everyone's speaking at such fast speed and they're all talking over each other, and she doesn't want to have to keep explaining all the time to me. She's just become lazy in herself, and she just expects me to just understand everything because everyone's going off at like 1,000 miles per hour, and I'm just sat at home listening to Duolingo on the slowest speed possible to just try and understand and compute what people are talking about. But when you're in a social situation and everyone's just firing off in all different directions, and I just managed to pick out the odd word here or there and managed to kind of work out what people are on about. But even then, I'm basically handcuffed. I'm limited with what I can say back. And I mean, a lot of the time, even if I did say something back in Italian, then they'd throw a whole load of Italian stuff at me again, and I'd be there like, I've no idea again what you're talking about. And I can't stand that situation of, sort of having to be the English person sitting there going, oh yeah, what's that, yeah, what's that? Yeah. And just, just seeming like really thick. Basically, I said to my girlfriend, I'm one of those types of people that, as a good analogy actually for what I always say to my girlfriend, I'm one of those people that would, I'm not going to just enter the Olympics, and become a Olympic swimmer. It takes time to jump into the pool and do lots of training, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth before you can get to the Olympics. That's my analogy that I always use to my girlfriend. So I always say to her, when we are at home, just me and her, when my daughter's at school, it'd be beneficial and helpful for me if we just tried to talk ourselves in Italian slowly, and if she can try to help me and teach me. But my girlfriend's not one of those types of people that's very patient. So, we've tried to do it, and after about 2 minutes she starts getting in a strop with me. So it gets to the point that we end up having a bit of an argument, and I'm just like, for God's sake, I just wish I'd never come to this country. It's just, everything's just a nightmare. I just live in an absolute nightmare of just trying to communicate with people. And again, I mean, it's a point that I will lead on to in one of my other points, but it's like, even if you do meet another Italian person that can speak English, they don't have the same British humour. So, I'll be saying things that to a British, is, what's that word? Very tongue-in-cheek and dry sort of humour that only English people seem to be able to get. Maybe Americans or Australians or, other people that speak English, Irish and such like might understand it, but to an Italian person, I mean, I've got a guy, one of my neighbours who lives downstairs, who works for NATO basically in Belgium, in Brussels. His English is pretty much perfect. I mean, he goes to Brussels and everyone there all speaks in English with each other. But the amount of time, even when he comes to ours for a coffee, and I say something, that only an English person sort of would get, it just goes straight over the head. And the same with my girlfriend, I sort of say things, then, it wouldn't necessarily translate, it wouldn't necessarily work out, and they just wouldn't get it. Like a classic example, that the Two Ronnies sketch, 4 candles. Only English people get that. 4 candles. I think I said that to Massey, my neighbour downstairs, and he didn't understand it at all. But yeah, the language is the massive one. Do you want to be one of those people that wants to really immerse yourself and understand the language, or do you just want to be one of those people that's just going to segregate yourself and find only other people that speak English? I mean, I'm thinking of people that have gone to Thailand. You're just like one of those tourists, like a typical English tourist, just going around going up to all the Thai people, expecting everyone to be able to speak English and just blurting off loads of English to them. Right, mate, where's the shops? How do I get a beer? How much is this, mate? Or do you want to actually try to learn how to say these things in Thai or I don't know, whatever country you go to. So that's my first point. Later's potatoes. In fact, that's also a very nice example there. Later's potatoes. If I was to say that to an Italian person, they just would not have a clue what I'm on about. Potatoes. It's just I don't know, Cockney rhyming slang, innit? Just doesn't compute. Anyway, bye for now. Cheers.